Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. A person commented on a very old video I have about Dr. Dao or David Dao, Chinese guy who got dragged off the plane. This was like 5 years ago. I did a video 5 years ago talking about United Airlines, Dr. David Dao dragged from Airline, and my reaction video to him being pulled off. Oh, I guess I didn't show the video back then. I wasn't quite sure on that. But somebody brought it to my attention because they commented on this video today. So thank you, whatever your name is here. I'm not even gonna try username 2 hours ago. But I was like, oh yeah, this. I wonder what happened to that guy. So here's an update 5 years later on what occurred with this guy, if you remember the case. I did a search in this article here. What has changed since Dr. Dow was dragged off a United Airlines flight, April 9th of 2022? Well, basically, they go on about talking about the bump, getting bumped off, bump gate. See, my problem with Dr. Dow was it wasn't like he was at the gate and they were like, you can't board because we oversold or we have airline workers that are taking those seats. It's the plane, everyone's sitting there, your luggage is on the plane, your carry-on is there, and you're probably with your spouse. I think he was with somebody, and they say, hey, we're randomly going to pick somebody because no one's stepping up for the $400 or $800 to give up their seats. We're going to just randomly pick somebody. Oh, you're the unlucky person. You're even sitting by the window, so it's harder for you to leave. Your stuff is here. Your other person is here. Your wife or daughter, I forget now, but another person's with them, and we're picking you. You got to get up. I'd be like, no way. I paid for the seat. I boarded. I'm here. Your airline workers should have been here earlier if they needed to bump somebody before we boarded. I think that's where the laws need to change. But anyways, this kind of goes in what has changed since the incident. Really, it doesn't talk about anything about as far as airline workers, airlines bumping people for their own use of those seats. It's like, they can just bump people, and if they bump people, you know they can give you money. And this is like the amounts. Here it is: 1 to 2 hour arrival delay, no compensation if you're delayed only an hour. So if they bump you and can immediately put you on a flight, say down there at gate 2, and you can get down there, put on that plane, and get going, then no compensation. That, I guess, is reasonable because you're talking about, like, you shouldn't be booking your trips within hours, right? So that should work for most people. Okay, I can kind of understand that. But then you got the 1 to 2 hour delay. You get 200% of one way fare. Fares are so cheap now, and it's not going to be more than $775. So that's like peanuts for an airline. The airline wants to get, especially when it's their people. You're not being bumped off because, you know, other reasons. It's you're being bumped off because they need that seat for their own, maybe pilot, co-pilot, whatever, to get to the next city so they can, take off on that flight, right? ASAP, because maybe, I don't know, somebody got sick, somebody got injured, they didn't can't show up for work, so that's how they get pilots around. But at the same time, I almost think airlines, because they're so big, they're worth so much money, should have their own littler planes, or they should charter a plane. Yeah, it might cost $15,000 to take these pilot and co-pilot from over here to over there, but they're not bumping people off. There's other options for the airline industry to do, and they're only going to compensate you up to $775 for your time and for your hassle, especially when you're picked out of you're with somebody. So it's not just a hassle for you, it's a hassle for that person because, okay, that person gets, say, your spouse. Let's say this happens to me. Maybe I'm flying from, let's say, Florida, Miami to Denver. Denver is an hour away from my house. So I'm going to have to and I get picked. My wife continues on. She gets to Denver. She gets the car. Hopefully, at that point, we even thought about who has the key, right? My luck, it would be me, and then she couldn't go anywhere. She'd be stuck there an hour hanging out. That sucks for her, right? Time is money. Well, okay, let's assume she has the key. She gets in the car, she comes home, and then by the time she gets home, I'm going to be there possibly, assuming it's only an hour delay. Even if it's a 2 hour delay, she's going to have to come back up and get me. So that's going to burn, I don't know, tank of gas there and back. You know, and plus the time, the maintenance on the vehicle, all this is occurring. So yeah, maybe if I got the $75, that's worth it. But if they're only compensating me what the fare costs, let's say the fare was, I don't know, $300 for a one-way fare. Okay, let's say fare's $300. 100% of that. I'm trying to think of the amounts we're talking about here. So 200%. So I don't know. Yeah, would it be worthwhile? I don't know. I mean, still wasting my time, wasting her time. Yeah, I mean, I guess if they included that they were going to take me, get me a vehicle, not a rental, because I'd have to return that, so that's wasting my time. But maybe one of the limousine services or say, you're going to have a driver for me to, okay, that might work. I might be okay with that. It's still going to be a hassle. Now, if you're over this up to, $1,550 up to, I mean, of course, airlines can give you more than this, and the international looks like it's the same damn thing, so I don't know why it's broken down again, but they probably did that in their rules for the Department of Transportation. But none of this at all addresses them bumping you for their own employee. These prices should be, this price should be mandatory even for here. You should probably even get something here for your time, even if it's just some vouchers or something. And that's the other thing. They say compensation. Well, they usually don't give you monetary compensation. Usually they try to give you like, here's some flight vouchers that are so restrictive that good luck using them, and I don't know. I personally don't travel that much. So, okay, let's assume I'm traveling. That might be my once in 5 years I'm traveling on a plane. I tend to drive. I prefer driving. So I'm going somewhere, I'm flying, and I get bumped, and I'm getting some vouchers that are worth even this. That means nothing to me. I might end up taking a trip just because I have the vouchers, but I know redeeming those vouchers are pretty hard if they don't make it easy, right? And this kind of goes on to, you need to ask some questions about the vouchers and what have you, but I don't know. I think the crew members, I think the airline should not bump people for them. Say, well, yeah, but these other people over here, you got a whole plane full of people, and they're already an hour, 2 hour delayed themselves because of a co-pilot issue. Well, if they're that delayed, it's worth that money for them to have a jump on a charter plane, right? A smaller plane, like a Learjet of some sort, and fly to, or a Falcon, a Learjet, Falcon, something, and fly to that airport and get them on the plane ASAP versus even having to dick around with the airport taking off and the hassles of just. The reason they do it is because it's cheap, and they find most people will take a voucher or some money or a combination and be delayed for an hour or two. But when no one steps up, I don't know. I think randomly picking people is wrong. And then when you call the cops or whatever to drag you off is wrong. So then I had to go look up, exactly, this video is from 3 years ago. So incident happened 5 years ago. So we're at 3 years, and we're going to watch this and I'll comment on it.
David Dao, who's from Vietnam, had no idea that video went viral at first and says he actually doesn't even remember being taken off the plane, only waking up in the hospital with no idea that he'd become a national headline.
That's crazy.
It was the horrifying viral moment seen around the world.
I mean, he's even sitting by the window. I mean, you pick somebody that's sitting by a window. Talk about somebody doesn't want to leave and you have to go through all this. This delayed the plane more, caused it. Really? You couldn't have just been like, kind of whisper around. I don't know the size of this plane. Like, you know, he really doesn't want to give up a seat, or he's with his spouse, and you know, let's just pick another name and see if that person will more easily cooperate. Like, because they picked, I think like 3 people. 2 of them got off. He did not. So maybe pick somebody else, and if you know, if you initially contacted him and you leaned in and you said, hey, can you give up your seat, blah, blah, blah. No one else probably heard what was going on, maybe just around those seats, but not back. So go pick a different person and see if they're willing to be like, oh, okay, I was picked, and they get off, right? Oh, here, oh, you know, you're going to give me $500. Okay, fine, I'll get off. No, they don't put up a fight. I think it's totally ridiculous how they handled this.
Oh my God! 2 years ago, Dr. David Dao, forcibly removed from an oversold United Airlines flight by aviation security officers after refusing to give up his seat to make room for United employees.
No, I'm not going.
See,
Today,
for
Dao
United
speaking
employees.
publicly about the incident for the first time.
Have you watched the video?
Later on,
What's that like to watch?
I just cried.
You can hear you screaming in pain.
That's
I don't
crazy.
know, I just cried.
Dao suffered a concussion, broken nose, and 2 missing teeth. He says he was heading home to...
Really? Did he need a broken nose, 2 missing teeth, and a concussion? Did you need to drag him off? Was it that important that you had to get all 3 of whatever crew members to this next destination for this next plane? You could have maybe tried to pick somebody else, or up the amount of money. Said, hey, we picked you. Oh, well, you don't. Okay, you know what? We're going to give you $1,500. How much is it worth the airline to get that airplane up? Give them $10,000. I don't know. There's going to be a point where somebody says, pick me, because, oh, $2,000? Yeah, I'll wait a few hours. That's cool. Or I'll wait until the next day to put me up in a hotel, $2,000, cash, none of this BS where it's a voucher. Yeah, somebody would raise their hand. That's the problem with airlines. United really dropped the ball here. They claim they've changed and this and that, but have they? I don't know. I mean, we've had COVID, so that reduced flying in 2021. So I don't know. We haven't heard about any more cases, so I don't know. Maybe other airlines took note about this, because it's kind of one of those things. Everyone has a cell phone. Everyone's recording. Whether the airline's right or wrong in this incident, they should realize marketing. They had a nightmare on their hands because everyone had the video. This guy, a doctor even, got dragged off of United. That's big headlines, right? And even now, we're talking about it because somebody mentioned it. Somebody was looking at it, came and commented on my video about, which sparked a memory in me saying, wow, I wonder what happened there, because, you know, it's hard to follow up on these stories. So somebody mentioned it. I figured I would talk about it.
When the aviation security officers first approached him.
Do you remember?
Oh, aviation security officers. Okay, thought it was police, but that might have been another incident, because I can remember around this time there was quite a few incidents with various airlines with various things. Okay, so it was aviation officers, I guess, private security or airport security. Is that
Quickly, things escalated.
I think very fast. I think very quick.
Were you expecting it?
Yeah, I think it happened very quick because they want to get that plane off the ground. It's all about money. They didn't think they'd have a lawsuit on their hand. They didn't think you'd refuse to get off. They didn't think they had to call somebody to pull you off, which, you know, it is the airline's right to pull you off, but to cause such harm to you of breaking nose, missing teeth, and a concussion, that is uncalled for no matter what. At a certain point, you got to be like, it's just not worth it. The guy just is trying to travel, and, you know, leave him be.
To get physical at any point?
No, not at all.
I know your daughter spoke out at a press conference.
What happened to my dad should have never happened to any human being, regardless of the circumstance.
What was that like for you as a father to see her standing up for you? And
Yeah, that shouldn't happen to anyone. It doesn't matter. It just should not happen to anyone. I mean, he's trying to probably comprehend why is he getting booting off. I mean, you got probably somewhat of a language barrier here, right?
about what happened.
I just cried.
Yeah.
Later on, I watch TV. Oh, yeah, I just cried.
United CEO Oscar Munoz
That's crazy.
sparking further uproar when he called Dow disruptive and belligerent in a leaked email to employees.
See, that was the other issue at the time. Somebody was disgusted, so they leaked an email showing that the CEO was saying he was being disruptive and belligerent. So he was spreading lies because he wasn't being disruptive, he wasn't being belligerent. In the videos we could see of this at the time. And it turned out good for the doctor because he ended up getting, it's speculated, quite a bit of money.
He appeared on GMA to apologize.
This will never happen again on a United Airlines flight.
3 weeks later,
So he had to
Dow
backtrack from what his email said because that created bad press. I'm glad somebody leaked it. I'm glad there was somebody at the company that said, that's disgusting, and leaked it.
reached an undisclosed settlement with the airline. Dow had instantly become the source of
Weeks later, undisclosed settlement. And that settlement is speculated to be quite high. So
national headlines, his personal life under a microscope, including a once temporarily suspended medical license.
How did you handle all of that attention?
Get the point, I have to hiding.
Could you go to work? Could you leave the house?
No. I stay for months in the house.
Now retired Dow says his faith and charity work helped him through all the unwanted attention. And today, he can see the good that came from the experience.
Well, the most important thing is the accident turned out the positive way. Airline
I'm just going to...
business willing to change policy.
Yeah, that's what it says, willing to change. Who knows if that really occurred, but positive, I mean, I guess I would take a couple missing teeth and a broken nose and a concussion for the sum of money that he might have got. I mean, here it talks about at top. It talks about right here. A lawsuit settled by United with Dow for a confidential amount, so we don't know for sure. That sum pegged at around 140 million followed. So they're thinking he got 140 million. Let's just say he got 14 million. I'd take that beating for 14 million. If I knew I was going to survive and come out in the long run, okay. I would. 140 million? Wow, that guy's doing awesome. So yeah, it turned out positive. 140 million, he can do a lot of good. He doesn't have to work. Why would he? I mean, doctors make pretty good money. So, I did a Google search of David Dow lawsuit just to see what would come up. And it says in China, rumors are flying about Dow's alleged 140 million settlement. That was back in 2017. So, who knows? I guess it looks like 2017. Washington Post also ran with that. I don't know if anyone else really knows. This was 2022. Oh, that's the article we're on now. Yeah. So I don't know if he got that much money or not. I don't know if policies of United or other airlines have really changed. Like I said, this article basically talks about, they have the right to not board you. The problem is, and I'm going to reiterate this if I didn't really specify it at the beginning of the video, is I can understand if you're at the gate, you're at the window, you haven't walked down the causeway, and the person says, we're overbooked. Oh, okay. I'll be upset. But okay, that's okay. But it's one thing to go on through the causeway, do the boarding pass, go through the causeway, get on the plane, put your luggage there. You probably maybe you have check-in baggage too, and you're sitting there by the window, just mind your own business. Somebody coming up saying, "Hey, we bumped you from this flight because we have 3 crew members that need to get over to here." What's that got to do with me? Why'd you pick me out of everyone else? Oh, well, it was random. Random? Are you crazy? I need to get to my destination just as much as those people, your workers, need to get to their destination. Well, how much am I going to get? Oh, we're going to give you $400. That's just not worth it to me. I got stuff to do. I got to be places. I got a meeting. I'm a doctor. I make good money. $400 is not going to cut. We'll give you $800. Or it's probably going to be more like we'll give you $400 and we'll give you $400 in a voucher so you can fly. And no, I don't fly that often. Sorry, no, that's not going to do it for me. The next point shouldn't be, well, we're pulling you off no matter what. That shouldn't be it. Next point should be like, hey, get on the PA. Hey, we're going to make another announcement here. 2 people are already left with their deal, right? They're gone. They won't know what's happening on board. People can cut their own deals, The next deal would be, hey, yeah, we're going to bump that up to $1,500. Do we have any takers for $1,500? There's a flight in 3 hours that is going to depart this airport. Oh, somebody's probably going to raise their hand. And if you did that as $1,500 cash and not a stupid voucher, somebody's going to raise. Okay, let's assume no one does. And how much money does it cost to not have that airplane that these crew members need to get to take off? Lots of money. So, next, hey, we got $2,500. Anyone for $2,500? And if somebody's like, hey, I guarantee you, there's going to be a point somebody says, hey, before it gets too crazy, right? No one's going to hold out to see if somebody else steps up for 10 grand or something. It's not going to happen. So how much would it cost to fly them on a charter flight from point A to point B? Let's say it's $15,000. If we have to fly these people on a charter, it's $15,000. Okay, you keep going up. I guarantee you, way before it probably gets to $5,000, if you're offering cash and not stupid vouchers, somebody's going to raise their hand. And that's how it should work. Because the airline's making a lot of money. They can afford to, raise that price and accommodate you too. If you need a hotel, give you a hotel. If you need meals because they kept you there, give them meals. Give them the money. Give them a ride on the other end. Why not? Because you just saved your own butt by being able to get your employees on a flight to another airport so another plane could take off. It's not like those employees are just jet setting around and they bump somebody off. They were needed. That's why they were bumping people. They need to pay real money, no vouchers, and compensate people for their time. For the airline's problem. It's not my problem. I don't hire your employees. It's your problem. And if you're willing to make it a my problem, then you need to compensate me. I don't know. I'm glad David or Dr. David Dao got, if he really did, $140 million. And that's probably why United decided they knew the publicity. They just wanted a week later, we want this gone, right? But it's still out there. These videos are still out there, and we should still talk about it. Why should we talk about it? Because I doubt the airline's really changed. Maybe they have. I don't know. United, reach out to me. Have you really changed? I don't know. I try to avoid flying nowadays because it's cattle in the sky. No one cares about your space. No one cares about your seat size. They just want to cram you in as many people as possible. Back when I started flying as a kid, Pan Am was around in the 80s, and it was a thing of a special thing to go fly. It wasn't too cheap. So a lot of people then never flew for stuff. They drove. Going to Disney World, you're going to drive. You're going to Disneyland, you're going to drive. You're going to want to go Texas and you're in Seattle, you're going to drive. That was a common way because it was a lot cheaper to drive than fly. Now it's so cheap to fly. You get a lot of people that probably shouldn't be flying that are flying. Unfortunately, you get a lot of trailer trash people in the skies. And that's just because the prices are cheap. When you have a $300 ticket, $300 to fly or $800 to drive with fuel, hotels, and stuff. Oh, I'm going to fly. Plus, it's quicker. But back when it was roles reverse, it was $300 maybe to drive, and it was $800 to fly. Yeah, people were like driving, but they pack more people in these planes. You don't have the comfort. You don't have the leg room. You don't, seats are narrower. You're more this way. You're more going front to back. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's why seats don't line up with the windows anymore. They used to line up with the windows. So think about that when you get on a plane. Look at where the window position is. The seat would have been with the window. Every row, when I was young and flying, fortunately, able to fly, father's job required flying with the federal government, but flying, you always had a window. You had your window. That was your window. It wasn't halfway between seats or anything weird. So I don't know. The airline industry has put a lot of these issues onto themselves because they don't care about you. They just want your money. But when they want to get their employees and make more money by be able to take off and fly that plane that's stuck somewhere because some people didn't show up or called in sick or whatever, well, they're not compensating you for your time, and a voucher is not compensating for you for anything. If somebody offers me a voucher, I'm gonna say no. I do not want a voucher at all. You show me the cash, I will probably give up my seat. I would consider that. But if I'm traveling with my family, let's assume I'm my wife and daughter, maybe we're coming back. Maybe it's not even going to. It's coming back from Disney World or something like that. If as a family, and you're gonna take one of us away in this situation because you did some stupid random drawing? Nah, man, that's not right. You raise your price until somebody will raise their hand. Somebody will raise their hand. Whether it's United, JetBlue, Southwest, I don't care what airline you are, you need to raise your price. Somebody will say, you know what? I'll take the next flight. $1,000 cash? Yeah, I'll take the next flight. I probably look at my wife and be like, for $1,000, I'll take the next flight. I'll ask them if they'll get me from the airport home, because it's an hour drive. And if they were to do that, then awesome. Even if they didn't do it, I'd probably be like $1,000. I'll pay $100, take a limo and come home, a personal and be up $900. I probably would do that. They just need to raise their prices. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the update. Sorry it's so late, but these things happen and we need to keep them in the news because we need to keep the airline industry accountable. And I really do feel sorry for the good doctor here. He was put through hell, but at the end of the day, I would love to be put through hell for 140 million if that figure is true. So bring it on. You guys take care, stay well, stay safe. Have a good one. Bye.